From the TLV1 studios in Tel Aviv, Israel, it's Louis Live! That's just me, Ari Louis. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is well. It's Tuesday night here in Tel Aviv in Israel. We have a great show, great lineup for you on Louis Live. We'll have on Aviram, who is Israel's first World Championship bowler, Isiah Elder, who is a Christian athlete training in Israel, Barry Schechter, and much more. But we're going to get to our first guest. This is indeed an honor and a pleasure. He used to play for Maccabi Tel Aviv, the Israel national team, and was head of operations for Maccabi Tel Aviv. Please give a warm Louis Live welcome to Gur Shelef. How you doing, Gur?
Hi, good evening.
Let's begin. There was a lot of tension, a lot of stress in Nokia Arena last night. Maccabi Tel Aviv on the verge of losing 3 in a row. They barely get the victory, 83-79. A lot of people in the media said had Maccabi Tel Aviv lost, David Blatt would have been fired. In your opinion, would that have happened had they lost last night?
I don't think they would fire Coach Blatt if they lost last night because still I think David Blatt is one of the maybe top 5 coaches in Europe, and it's not easy to find a new coach in a short term of time in that level. Maccabi Tel Aviv now is not playing so good. They lost already 3 games in the Israeli league, and even last Thursday they lost a EuroLeague home game, which they should win. But still, Maccabi Tel Aviv is a great club with a huge tradition and good players, and for my opinion, they will be fine in the next few weeks.
Now, a lot of was made of the fact that the Israelis weren't contributing a lot to the team. It was more of an American team, Sylvan Landesberg, David Blue, etc. Now, it was talked about because Guy Panini scored 23 points. David Blatt said, maybe I made a mistake. I need to give him more time. Do you think David Blatt really meant that, and we'll see more Guy Panini, Ochayon, these type of Israeli players playing for Maccabi Tel Aviv in more minutes?
As a former player and as a former team manager, I can tell you that the players that are in the right shape, in a good shape, these are the players that are going to play, and it doesn't matter what's the name on the ID. If Guy Panini will be in good shape, he will play. If David Blue or Sylvan Landsberg will score the ball, they will be on the floor. So it doesn't matter where were you born or what is your name. If you're playing good, you will play.
All right. Now, I'm just going to point this out from the fans' perspective, I'm not saying as a technical type of perspective, but fans, a lot of fans in Israel want Israeli players, Israeli-born players, not Americans who come over to Israel. Do you think that at all plays a factor, or it's just about winning and whatever gets it done?
It's hard for me to say because I am a former Israeli player. But when I used to play for Maccabi, there were more Israeli original. Let's call it original Israeli players on the team. And let's talk about this year. Only two or maybe two Israeli players in the roster. And it's very hard, and it's very difficult for the fans to realize that. But as an Israeli, I can tell you that the fans are looking for a winning team. If the team will win, so the fans will be with the team. But now when the team is losing, so everyone is looking for excuses. And this is one of the excuses about the Israeli players, American players, etc.
We're speaking with Gur Shelef here on Louis Live on TLV1. Let's talk about the Tyrese Rice incident. During a timeout, he walked away. He complained about a lack of playing time, and he started the season somewhat sluggish, then got it together. He didn't obviously have a good appearance last night when you walk away while the coach is talking to you. Is this grounds for suspension and or removal from the team?
No, this is not a suspension or something like that. Maccabi Tel Aviv is a club with a lot of pressure. Tyrese Rice is a young player. Although he came from a European team in Germany, but playing for a small team in Germany is not like playing for Maccabi Tel Aviv in Israel. Maccabi Tel Aviv, I think it's one of the top 5 teams with the biggest pressure in Europe. In Maccabi Tel Aviv, you can't lose even in practices. So this is not something that Tyrese Rice is used to. That's why it's very hard for him to play like he know how to play. If I'm looking 10 years back, I can mention a player which used to be one of the biggest. His name is Anthony Parker. He played for Maccabi Tel Aviv few years, and he became one of the top leading player in Europe. He went after that. He went to the NBA, playing for Toronto and for I think for I forgot which teams. But his first 3 months in Israel was really difficult. He came from the States. After he finished his college years, and he played few months in NBA, but it took him maybe 3 months to get used to the European game, to Maccabi pressure, and his first period of time wasn't so good, but he was patient. The club was patient with him, and at the end, he was one of the biggest players in Europe.
Do you think, though, with this continue losing of Maccabi Tel Aviv, that they will still be patient this time around with Tyrese Rice and give him a chance, or will they not have time for that and have to move on?
They should have patience and they should have time, but as I said before, Maccabi Tel Aviv is a club with a lot of pressure. And you talked at the beginning about Coach Blatt being fired or no. So this is one of the reasons, the coach doesn't have time for players to get used to the system, to Europe, to other things, because he needs to take care of himself. And if Tyrese Rice is not playing well, so coach will go to other players that might play well.
Also, I want to get your take on the incident between David Blatt and David Blue. Of course, Blue retired last year. He came back, and there was an incident also during a timeout where they were yelling at each other. David Blue kind of walked away. Later on, David Blatt said, "We're friends. This is not a big deal." Do you buy that? Do you say that it's not a big deal, or is there something more than meets the eye?
I said it, and I will say it again. A lot of pressure, especially on this period of time when the team is not playing well, the team is losing, so everyone is intense, everyone is in pressure, everyone is trying to do his best, and sometimes it doesn't work. Basketball is an emotional game, and sometimes it happens, but David Blue and David Blatt knows each other for maybe 10 years. So I think few wins and few baskets, everything will be
forgiven, right? Winning cures all evils, as they like to say. Speaking of winning and emotions, let's talk about the game on Thursday. Maccabi Tel Aviv playing Red Star Belgrade. It's in Serbia. That is a lot of pressure. It's a crowd that is fanatic, very, very loud. David Blatt says, "Hey, this is going to be a lot of fun. We like that emotion." Give us a breakdown of that game coming Thursday. What does Maccabi Tel Aviv need to do to get the victory?
If we are looking at the team's roster, so Maccabi Tel Aviv is much better team than Red Star Belgrade. But as Coach Blatt mentioned, and as you understand, playing in Belgrade is one of the toughest places to play in the world. The fans are crazy, and they push the team, and it's something that as a basketball players you don't see a lot. That's why Red Star is being able to win better teams at home because they have the fans behind them. Of course, if you are Maccabi Tel Aviv player and you win in a place like Belgrade, so of course you are having fun, and these are the times that you are happy and smiling as being a basketball player. But it's not going to be easy. Although I'm saying again, Maccabi Tel Aviv is much better team, but Maccabi should play very, very smart, take care of the ball. And not letting the crowd getting involved and push Red Star to play with a lot of enthusiasm and to fight. Maccabi should win in this game.
All right, so you're predicting that they should win, Maccabi should win. Let's go quickly to Jerusalem because you have Lior Eliyahu, who was the captain of Maccabi Tel Aviv, now playing for Jerusalem. A lot of people said that it's not going to be a problem with Elishai Kadir. They'll play together. That's not what happened in the last game. Lior Eliyahu played great. He had a double-double, but Elishai got very few minutes. Do you think this is going to be a problem? Can these two guys not play together, and will Elishai have to go to the side for Lior Eliyahu?
Of course, when two players are playing on the same position, and one of them is playing really good, so the other player will play less. And that's what happened in Maccabi with some teams, which you mentioned Guy Pnini at the beginning of our conversation. And that's what's happening with Elishai Kadir, Lior Eliyahu. And Elishai Kadir knows it. Lior Eliyahu is one of the top Israeli players, and when he's playing good, so Elishai Kadir is not going to be able to play a lot. It's very hard for them to play together because they play on the same position, but Elishai Kadir will need to do his calculation to see if this situation is good for him or not.
All right, and last question before we let you go. Let's talk about Ness Ziona because they've had some big wins over Haifa, Jerusalem, Maccabi Tel Aviv. They did lose to Gibol Galil. Is this team therefore for real? Because we see they can lose to a team that wasn't so good. Do you look as the loss as a fluke, or do you look at the wins as flukes? What's your opinion on Ness Ziona?
First of all, I'm very happy to see Ness Ziona playing because they are playing with some Israeli veteran players, some Israeli rookies, and some really, really nice foreigners which playing first year in Israel. So it's very, very fun to see this new team coming and playing good, beating Maccabi Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Haifa. But as you said, with not a lot of confidence or without being able to beat small teams, especially away, Ness Ziona will have a hard time to be a top-level team in Israel.
All right. Well, there you go. Gor Shelef, this was such an honor. Thank you so much for making the time here on Louis Live on TLV1. Enjoy the game on Thursday, and we hope Maccabi Tel Aviv gets the W. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
All right. That was Gor Shelef. That was a huge interview. Thanks to Roy Shalem for setting that up. A couple quick announcements before we go to a musical interlude. This Thursday at 8 p.m., I will be broadcasting the Hanukkah Bowl between the Judean Rebels and the Jerusalem Canes. Later on in this program, we will have a player from each one of those teams to talk about the game, so stay tuned for that. And also a shout-out to my friend Raphael Geller, who writes for the Times of Israel. He's a friend of mine, and you should check out his work. And if he's listening, hope him and his family have a great Hanukkah. So that's Raphael Geller, Times of Israel. All right, let's take a musical interlude. On the other side, bowling champion or Aviram. This is Louis Live on TLV1.
מסוכן מדי, רק יפת וגדולה מהחיים, היא כבר בגן התחילה לפתות מבוגרים, ושהיא נוגעת ומפחיץ את החושים, אז קחי את הרגליים כי אין לי עוד הקרושים, ואת לא! אישה שלי, אל תשחקי איתי, אל תהרגי אותי, רק בת 16. ילדה קצת מפותחת עם הראש בעיניים, בת 16 בערך והגוף של בת 30, ושהיא צוללת עד המים מתייבשים, אז קחי את הרגליים כי אין לי על הפנים, ואת לא! רוצה כל כך לגעת ולעשות המרגלים, ילדה את מנדלת ועולה לעצבים, אז קחי את הרגליים והביתה להורים, בובה את בועטת ושובר לי את הביצים, בובה את בועטת ושובר לי את הביצים, בובה את בועטת ושובר לי את הביצים, בובה את לא, את לא, את לא, את לא, את לא, את לא.
Back here on Louis Live on TLV1. If you want to follow the station on Twitter, you can do so at TLV1.fm. If you want to email me personally, that's Ari Louis Show at hotmail.com, ARILOUISSHOW at hotmail.com. Just had a great interview with Shelef. We're now going to switch gears and talk about bowling. We haven't talked about bowling yet on the show. We will now with a very special guest. He is Israel's first man to win a bowling World Cup title. Please give a warm welcome to Aviram. How you doing out there?
Hi, thank you very much. How are you?
Doing good. So, did you get any sleep yet? I understand you've been partying a lot, celebrating the victory. Are you feeling good?
Yeah, well, it takes a while to settle in. Well, the day after winning, parties all around. Then, of course, I had to come back home, flights all around, and I virtually didn't get enough sleep. So I'm kind of I'm on an adrenaline rush right now.
Well, or just remember, you're supposed to have twice the amount of water as alcohol. That's a secret to avoid the hangover. So just remember that.
Too late now.
There are so many things to talk about. This is such a great story. First, this is one of the more interesting things I find about. You work in high tech and you moonlight as a bowler, and yet you're a champion. How is that possible? To be a champion, you have to put in so much time, so much discipline, so much focus, and you work a regular job. You're a regular guy, and yet you're a champion. So how did you get that accomplished?
Well, I was very lucky in that aspect. The owner of my company, the guy who owns the company I work for, he is a bowling enthusiast, and he is kind of targeted me from a long time ago. He told me, you want to keep bowling, and you are very good with computers. I'm going to let you do both. You're going to come work for me. I'm going to help you out with, a normal job like a normal person, but I'm also going to let you go bowl, go practice, go out to tournaments. So I was extremely lucky in that aspect.
All right. So that sounds like a cool boss. Everyone wants a boss like that, right?
Of course. But that's like once in a lifetime.
Yeah, right. You think you hit the jackpot there. Now, in your training, you live in Tel Aviv. You commute to Haifa, correct, for your training?
Yes. My club is in Nesher, which is just at the outskirts of Haifa. I've been back and forth through a lot of clubs until I found my home, so to say. Those guys in Nesher, they are complete professionals, and that is what I was looking for. So they really love the sport, and they put a lot of effort to practice, and they push me to practice as well. And, this is kind of an environment I wanted to be in. So I didn't really mind the distance. I just, I want to be in where I'm comfortable.
All right, now I'm really curious, or on bowling training, practicing, what that's like. Do you just go and bowl, or I imagine it's more complex, detailed, where, I mean, do you have coaches that tell you are moving your wrist too much to the right? That's why you're missing this pin. Do you watch video of yourself? Tell us what bowling training is like for Or.
Yeah, well, basically, bowling is one of the most technical sports you can find. You can think about golf, and you can think about tennis as well, where, in a couple of seconds, you have to execute a shot, a movement with your body, and it has to be perfect time after time. Like a tennis player, he needs to serve the ball in a perfect way in order to beat his opponent. And what I do most of the time during my practices is I practice being consistent. And consistent is a result of having a perfect technical game, meaning that the timing of when I swing the ball is in perfect match up to the speed of my legs and the steps and the sizes of the steps and the direction of the swing. So there are a lot of technical subtleties that you need to focus on, and videos are a must in every practice. And I do a lot of analysis of my own videos, and I've been using a lot of coaches throughout my years and my career. I've met a lot of great coaches that everybody has contributed something, and eventually everything clicks together. And I'm very happy where I am today. My technical game is the best as it was ever.
We're speaking with Or Aviram, Israel's first world champion in bowling. Let's talk about the championship prelude, because in 2006, you almost won the title. You got in second place. How much did that motivate you? You get so close to winning the championship, but don't get it. How much did you think about that, obsess over it, and think, I got to get this because I want to taste the feeling of victory?
Yeah, well, it was 2005 when I came second.
2005, sorry.
Yeah, and 2006 I won the European Cup. So you can think that the 2005 year just drove me to practice as hard as possible, because I really wouldn't settle for second place, and I worked as hard as I can. And then 2006, I was rewarded with winning the European Cup. And all those years since 2006, the sport has, of course, evolved a little bit, and then you can see a different type of bowlers succeed. And what I was trying to do is kind of follow up on how the sport is evolving, and trying to change my own game to fit this new sport that now is more aggressive and more powerful. And I had a few years. I had 7 years of, let's say, bad luck before I came to my senses and realized that I'm a good enough bowler as I am, and I don't have to start imitating other bowlers that do well. And once I realized it, this year was a spectacular year for me. Both domestic, I've won many tournaments in Israel, and abroad, this World Cup is just the highlight of my career.
Now, was that really the number one thing that clicked for you? Because every champion, they look back and they say, so this particular moment, it was an incident. For you, was it the realization that you don't have to imitate anybody else, you can just be yourself? Was that what clicked for you in becoming a champion?
Exactly. That is a perfect statement. It took me a long time. It took me too long time. And I was always trying to figure out what is wrong. And I was always looking for the best bowlers at the time and trying to see what they do that I can learn from. Of course, it helped a little bit, but it did, in retrospect, it did more damage. And once I realized that I am a good enough bowler and went back to my style, things started to work for me.
All right, now let's talk about the actual tournament and the title-winning way that you did this. First, you beat a man named Alexei Poshakov. He is Russian, and the tournament was in Russia, so obviously the home crowd is on his side. What was that like, beating him? How hard was that to deal with all the atmosphere that are pushing towards your opponent, for your opponent?
Wow, yes. He was a home player, definitely. He had the crowd behind him, and it was a very loud crowd. But what I focused on, what I really worked hard on, is trying to quiet down all the noises around me and just focus on my own game. I didn't even see it until I saw my own bowling a couple of days later, that I didn't even realize what the crowd at the back were holding. They were holding signs pushing Russia and kind of pushing down Israel in kind of a nasty way. And I didn't even look at it. I didn't even knew it was there. And only 2 days later, when I saw my own videos, I realized it.
Wow.
So I was focused, and I'm glad I did, because if I was looking around, if I would look around, probably I would maybe lose my temper just a little bit.
Wow, yeah, can't blame you there. We're speaking with Aviram, who is Israel's first world bowling champion. And in the final, you beat a guy named Guy Kamenetsky, who sounds kind of Israeli, actually, but he's from South Africa. You beat him in a best of 3. How much pressure was it going in the final game, knowing this is do or die, that you've got second place before? If you want to get to first place, you got to win this one game. What was that like for you?
Exactly. I didn't want to come second again. I really didn't want to come second again. And this guy, Guy Kamenetsky, is actually a Jewish bowler. And I've met him a long time ago during the Maccabi games. And he has won several Maccabi championships before. And he is a well-known bowler throughout the bowling community. And I knew who I was up against. He's a great bowler. Luckily for me, in the second game, which I lost, I used that game to kind of gain confidence and look for my lines so I can, perform better at the third game. And I just came to the third game knowing I am on the correct spot, and I knew exactly what I needed to do to execute the shot and get the strikes. So my only focus was just making my own shot and waiting for his mistake. And very lucky for me, it wasn't too late until he started. I guess the pressure was on him much more than it was on me. He was too eager, and he was very, very nervous. And it was just a matter of time until he did a mistake, and I just used it. I never looked back.
2 Jews in the final of bowling, that in the World Championship bowling. That's awesome. Last question.
That is great.
Last question before we let you go. What now? I mean, you won the championship. Where you can't go higher than the top. What do you do from this point?
Wow, yeah, that is a big question. But the only answer I can give you is I'm going to go forward. I want to win this again and again. And there are a lot of other tournaments that I can win. Unfortunately, this tournament is a title tournament, and I cannot get any money from it. If you call it, the bottom line is I couldn't receive anything from it.
Okay.
But I'm going just tomorrow to another open tournament in Europe, as I was doing for many years before, and I will keep on going to more and more tournaments and kind of show myself out there and try to see how I can continue my success throughout longer time.
All right. Well, keep up with the success. Congratulations, once again, Aviram here on Louis Live and TLV1. Thanks for the time. Enjoy the party, and remember, drink a lot of water, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Sure, be well. All right, folks, we'll take a musical interlude. On the other side, a Christian athlete, Isiah Elder, will tell us his story. This is Louis Live on TLV1.
This ain't a song for the broken-hearted. A silent prayer for faith departed. And I ain't gonna be just a face in the crowd. You're gonna hear my voice when I shout it out loud. It's my life, it's now or never. I ain't gonna live forever. I just wanna live my life. It's my life. My heart is like an open highway. Like Franklin said, I did it my way. I just wanna live my life. It's my life. This is for ones who stood their ground. For Tommy and Gina, who never back down. Tomorrow's getting harder, make no mistake. Looking even look, you gotta make your own breaks. It's my
Back here on Louis Live on TLV1. Thanks again to Aviram. And what a great show we had. Before that, we had Shelef from Channel 11. So great stuff so far. Let's switch gears, and we'll talk a little track, talk some soccer as well with Isiah Elder. Isiah, welcome to Louis Live on TLV1.
Thank you.
Now, you have an interesting story in that you came to Israel, but you're not Jewish, and you're here on your gap year. So tell us why you were motivated to come to the Holy Land.
Okay, well, actually, I am Jewish, and I'm on the conservative program called Aviv. And so I came this year to study Ulpan, to do some volunteer work, and overall, just to get a little more mature before I go back to college in the U.S.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Got to make a crush on that. Boy, is my face red. All right, let's talk about some of your volunteer work. You work at Alzheimer's home and also with people with cerebral palsy. So tell us, obviously that must be a rewarding feeling, so tell us about that.
Yeah, it really is. So every Sunday, me and a couple of my friends, we go to the Alzheimer's home. We help them do activities. For example, sometimes we play games like Scrabble with them, and we also do physical exercises, and mostly just get to know the people there. And yeah, and then that's the cerebral palsy place. It's called Beit HaGagolim, and it's right outside of Jerusalem. And they also go there once a week, and it's about 10 or 15 kids who come, and we do activities like games, such as like telephone and plays, and just our goal is just to give the kids the best experience possible.
All right. Now, in high school, you won a championship. Your team did in soccer and track. Basketball, you're named Defensive Player of the Year. So you're a 3-star athlete, athlete in you got lettered in 3 sports. So tell us how you're able to make such a rounded schedule where you're playing 3 different sports and playing it at such a high level.
I found the trick for me was I always had to put schoolwork first. So as soon as I got home, or right after school, I would go to sports practice, usually for an hour and a half or 2 hours, and then I would have to manage my schedule really well, because right after I got home from sports, I would immediately have to do my homework and then get to bed early. So I found the trick was just to put myself on a really tight schedule.
Now, I understand that you have another friend with you that would like to come on. Tell us his name.
Okay. This is Josh Bronstein. He's also from Portland, Oregon.
Hello?
Josh, welcome to Louis Live on TLV1. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. So tell us about some of the sports that you participate in and some of the community work that you're doing with Nativ.
With Nativ, so while we've been here, most of the time we've been running on our own. We just found a track club that we joined, but other than that, on Nativ, I'm also studying at Ulpan with Isiah, and I do some similar volunteering things with him. Like I'm also volunteering with Beit HaGalgalim, but I also volunteer at Yad Lakashish, which is, I don't know if you know what it is, but it's a place where, yeah, it's a lifeline for the old, where basically elderly people come who wouldn't have a job otherwise, and they make art, like different like paper mache things or other things, and they have a gift shop there, and so they sell it and basically gives them a job to work with that. All right, guys, great stuff. We have to let you go on our next guest, but enjoy your year in Israel. Have a lot of fun, and we'll be in touch. Thank you guys so much. All right, thank you very much. Bye. All right, and that's why they call it Louis Live, because anything happen on live radio. We'll take a musical interlude. On the other side, Baria Schechter, one of the coaches of the Judean Rebels, playing in the Hanukkah Bowl, which is this Thursday at 8 p.m. That will be live from Kraft Family Stadium. If you want to come out and see me and get an autograph, you can do so. I will be broadcasting and signing at the same time. This is Louis Live on TLV1.
Oh,
All right, back here on Louis Live on TLV1. Once again, if you want to follow us on Twitter, that's at TLV1.fm. And if you want to email me personally, that's arilouisshow@hotmail.com, ARILOUISSHOW@hotmail.com. We're going to switch gears and talk some American football played here in Israel with one of the coaches of the Judean Rebels, Shlomo Barya Schechter. Barya, welcome back to Louis Live.
How you doing, Ari? It's good. Always good to be with you.
And I know you're a little under weather. We certainly appreciate the time. You're coaching in the Hanukkah Bowl this Thursday. Obviously, we don't expect you to give away any secrets, but tell us how the team is prepared. You had a great showing in the Lightning Tournament. You guys were undefeated there. Tell us what practice has been like coming into this big game on Thursday.
Well, I think our morale was very high. The team is very excited to play a real game. And it's a great honor and a pleasure to be part of the Hanukkah Bowl. It's a very special evening. This year coming out on Thanksgiving even more so. We're all very, very excited to get playing in this game. I think there's a lot of positivity. We all feel very strongly about our team this year, and we're just excited to get out there.
How much of that taste of coming in second place, losing to the Sabres in the title game, motivated this team this season?
Well, we've been working very hard. Guys have been working out and training in our practices, and we've tried to keep very focused. Coach Eastman is saying we got to finish it. You know, we came real close last year. We had a great run, and this year we're out for gold.
All right, now I want to talk about the Hanukkah Bowl in particular because there's a long tradition that's been played for several years. The origin of the game, my understanding, is the Rebels were formed from the Kings. They were a breakoff team, if you will. Is that correct? And if so, tell us how that got formed, the Rebels.
Well, a number of years back, when I was, originally I was on the Kings, myself and Johnny Joe and Parrots Rickett and Yeshua Woodland, and we had a desire to make our own team. We had a dream. Particularly Parrots had a dream of really bringing football here to the Gush, and to run a program, to run a football program according to his dream. And we came out here and we broke off from the Kings that year, and we formed our own team, and it came out very nicely because Hanukkah, the story of Hanukkah, it really was the last of the Sherid Beit David, the last of the Davidic dynasty that had been Mityaven. They were sort of hanging out with the Greeks, and a bunch of Judeans rebelled against them. And we have here is really the kings of Jerusalem against the Judean rebels, and it's quite appropriate that we play on Hanukkah. It came out very nicely.
Now, my covering of in the beginning of the rivalry, it seemed like there was some bad blood. It was intense. It doesn't seem the same way now. Do you think some of the bad blood has gone away between the two teams?
Well, some of it. Some new bad blood has been formed. But, anytime you have crosstown rivals, there's always tension. At this point, the last of, I'm the last of the rebels that was once a king. And maybe Big Mike and Max are the last of the Kings that were there when that were Kings. Were part of the team when I was there. And of course, Big Mike and I love each other very much, and there's not bad blood between us. I think that there's an intense rivalry without it being negative or we don't want to hurt each other. It's just it's rivals. It's a true rivalry. And the Hanukkah Bowl has been going on for a number of years. And last year, the Kings won for the first time. We'd beaten them a number of years in a row, and then they won last year by 2 points. And that just feeds the rivalry. There's a sense of pride in this game more than any other, that it really doesn't matter who finishes with a better record or who finishes championship or anything. The Hanukkah Bowl is a prize unto it itself, and there's pride in when you have a rival, it doesn't matter if you lose to somebody else as long as you beat your rival. And I think that there's a strong sense of that with the Kings in the Hanukkah Bowl.
Speak with Barya Schechter here on Louis Live on TLV1. This is the first time this year the Hanukkah Bowl will be played as a preseason game, not a regular season game. Does that take away anything from this at all, Barya, or not at all?
In my opinion, it adds to it. This is not a game that matters for anything but itself. In the same way that when you have in college football, they play a whole season at the end to get to the bowl game. And let's say with the exception of the national championship game, none of those bowl games matter for anything. It's just a question of pride, and it's a spectacle. It's an exhibition, and I think that this game coming up on Hanukkah is in the same thing. This is the bowl game for us. It just happens to be at the beginning of our season, but it's just that an exhibition. It's a spectacle. We're here to showcase our league, to showcase Israeli football, and there's nothing better than that. I don't believe that there's any other football game in the world where there's a Hanukkah candles being lit as part of the ceremony of the game, and that's a tremendous thing. Just to shine the light that we are Israeli football, and it's a great honor to participate in that.
All right, great stuff. Last few minutes with you. Let's talk about Donnie Eastman. We brought this up the last time you were on. Want to double check with you. He won the MVP last year, and he does require to start his military service, but he will be able to play the Hanukkah Bowl and most of the games this year, correct?
Yes, I can't speak for the entire season. You have to ask him or Coach Eastman, but he will be playing on Thursday. And as far as I know, the plan is that he will be available to play at least on our Thursday night games.
Okay, so at least the Thursday night games, the reigning MVP will be able to do that.
Yeah. Always exciting to have him on the field. You never know what's going to happen with Donnie, and it definitely makes it more of a spectacle.
And last question I'll leave you with. The Canes, as you mentioned, last year they won, and also last year they made it to the semifinals. So the Canes have been doing much better as of lately. How much are you focused on not just yourselves, but how good the Canes are and your competitors on Thursday?
Well, the thing that I've learned about the Kings over the years is they're always better than you think they are. That the Kings have a knack for making upsets, and you can't ever count them out from any game. And both, they made it to the semifinals, as you said. They lost to the Sabres in the semis. We lost to the Sabres in the finals. I think both of us are coming into this game feeling much improved from last year. So I expect it to be a good game.
All right, and the game, of course, will be here on TLV1, 8 p.m. Thursday. Everyone can tune in, all friends and family. Barya, thank you so much. We'll see you on Thursday. Really appreciate the time. Feel better, get some rest, and enjoy the game on Thursday.
Thank you. I'll see you soon.
All right. Shlomo Barya Schechter, one of the coaches of the Judean Rebels, here on Lewis Live on TLV1. On the other side of this musical interlude, we're going to give the Canes some airtime and have them express themselves with Big Mike Goloman. This is Lewis Live on TLV1.
Girlfriend
Back here at Louis Live on TLV1. Listen to a little rock music as we rock into Thursday. Pre-game will be at 8 p.m. We'll have the Hanukkah menorah lighting at 8:15 and then the Hanukkah Bowl at 8:30. And one of the players involved in that game is on the line right now. Big Mike Goloman. Big Mike, how you doing out there?
Thank the good Lord, Ari. How you doing?
Hey, doing great. Now, we talked with Barry Schechter in the previous segment. His team feels pretty good. They feel like they're more improved from last year. Do you feel that your team is improved from last year's semifinal performance?
I mean, I sure hope so. I mean, reality is like, I mean, the Rebels didn't have like much, but like, you know, one player last year. So this year they've got two. So I'm very proud of them.
Oh my God! Trash talking already, saying they only have two players. That's it.
Well, I mean, think of it. They got Zaire, and then they got the quarterback. What's his face?
Donnie Eastman.
Donnie Eastman. That's it. Yeah, I said that. What do the Rebels got?
I don't know, but I mean, I'm sure the Rebels are listening to this. Are you sure you want to say all this, Big Mike?
Why not? It's all in good fun. It's just like the Rebels made it. Listen, the Rebels made it to the finals with Donnie Eastman. So
Right.
being the fact that they made it to the finals with just Donnie Eastman, with having this guy, now with this guy Zaire, who quite frankly is like the fastest guy in the league. I'm floored with speed. You know, pretty much it's like they're guaranteed the title. So it's like they're the team to beat, right?
So you're even as a Kings player and the Rebels are your rivals, you're saying they're the favorites.
They are the favorites, and guess what? You know what the best thing about being the favorites is?
There's always a target on the back?
Exactly. There's a target on your back. You know? People just want to take them down. It's as simple as that.
All right, so the Rebels have two players. Who do the Kings have? They have Ari Louis, right? Who else do they have? They have you?
Well, we love Ozzy, you know. Ozzy's approaching my weight now, so it's good. You know?
What you weighing right now, Big Mike?
Right now, I gained a few pounds. I'm back up to 400.
Okay.
You know, it's not. I have issues with food, so you know.
Right.
I like to eat. So apparently nowadays in this world, that means I have issues with food.
Right. But in certain parts of the world, people would be happy to be in your position. There's people starving in the world.
This is true. There's no denying that. Listen, the reality is that we got a lot of great young talent. You know, we had a fine quarterback, who, as everyone saw in the Lightning tournament. You know, we got a decent offensive line, not as big as we had in years past, like when we had Ben Block and Aviv and those guys. I mean, that was quite frankly the best line the IFL ever saw.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
You know, I miss those guys.
You're going to be playing defensive line in the game?
I mean, at my age, they're going to wheel me out there for a couple plays a game. I mean, who are you kidding? I got more gray hair than George Burns. So.
All right,
yeah.
but whenever they do wheel you out, then you'll be playing defensive line. Is that the plan?
I mean, listen, I went both ways. You know, when I played at the Lightning tournament. So
Okay.
wherever they want me. Listen, the reality is I'm a team player. So it is what it is. I mean, it's like I don't care. I just like having fun.
All right. Well, fun is the name of the game.
And it's more fun when you win.
Sure.
You know, so.
Now,
just saying, you know,
and the Hanukkah Bowl is a big tradition, and you guys won it the first time the Canes ever won it was last year, at least according to Baria. And so you have some momentum. You know, talk about the tradition of a game you're playing in. You play college football. You know what tradition is about. Here's tradition in the IFL.
Yeah, I know. It's like this is like the one traditional game we've got in the IFL. It's like the Hanukkah Bowl. It's like every year we got to play the Rebels. Which, mind you, since I'm on air, I just need to apologize to the Kinnisbergs that I will not be at the Thanksgiving party. You know, I mean, every year I get invited. Every year I can't go. Next year, I'm switching to Big Blue just so I can go to the Kinnisburg party.
Well, it probably won't be on Thanksgiving next year, Big Mike, so you'll be able to go anyway. You don't have to switch teams.
Why want to be on Thanksgiving next year?
The Hanukkah Bowl, well, it'll be a different day. It won't be as early this year.
No. Every year, the so-called Hanukkah Bowl is on Thanksgiving. Have you not noticed that?
What?
They call it the Hanukkah Bowl.
Yeah.
But every year it just happens to be on Thanksgiving.
Was it on Thanksgiving last year? I don't remember that.
Yes, it was.
Oh.
Look it up. We're always on Thanksgiving.
Oh, all right. I don't know how that's possible.
Maybe it's not the Hanukkah Bowl, but every year we have a game on Thanksgiving.
Okay, that might be. Yeah, but not the Hanukkah Bowl.
Maybe it's not the Hanukkah Bowl, but every year we have a game on Thanksgiving.
All right, and you're upset at that because you want to go to Larry Kinnisburg's Thanksgiving
dinner. Of
dinner.
course I want to go to Larry's party. Dude, have you not tasted his food? Larry's an old-school New Yorker, just like me, right? Larry knows how to cook. You know, Amy's like an amazing person. I mean, listen, she puts up with Larry. Of course I'm going to want to eat there. I'm going to want to have a lot of fun there. You know? But, you know, every year I got to play football, you know. It's like, all right, it could be worse things you can do on Thanksgiving.
All right, Biggie, good stuff. We got to run. We'll see you on Thursday. Even if they get Willie out for a couple of plays, I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Of course I enjoy it. The fact of the matter is that this is what I live for, you know. I get to go out there, I get walks in my Geritol, I have some fun. And you know, and the best thing about it is to get to smack around some metals while I'm doing it. You know, that's the beauty of it.
All right, Big Mike, enjoy. We'll see you on Thursday.
All right, brother, we'll see you then.
All right, be well. All right, folks, that's going to conclude our show for tonight. Want to thank all our guests. First, we started with Gur Shelef, who formerly was the head of operation for Maccabi Tel Aviv and talked about Maccabi Tel Aviv's struggles, or Aviram, who became Israel's first world champion bowler. Isiah Elder, who's here on his gap year, who plays sports while volunteering, helping the elderly. Baria Schechter, one of the coaches of the Judean Rebels, talked about the importance of the Hanukkah Bowl. And Big Mike Goloman, who misses Larry Kinnisburg's Thanksgiving dinner every year. He doesn't like it. Special thanks to Roy Shalem for setting up some great guests. Special thanks to Lior Peleg for producing and Tomer Gersherman for the music. Stay tuned for Thursday night, 8 p.m. right here on TLV1 as the Judean Rebels play the Jerusalem Kings right here on TLV1. I'm Ari Louis. That's it for tonight. God bless and good night.
Against the mold, without a doubt, singled out the only way I know, 'cause I wanna be the minority. I don't need your authority. Down with the moral majority, 'cause I wanna be the minority. Stepped out of the line, like a ship runs from the hood, marching out of time. My love me now, the only way I know. One light, one mind.